What's going on, guys? Let me know if you can hear me okay. As always, if the sound's bad, it's your fault, not mine. Let me know if everything's all good. Also, if you are ready to get into this, I want you to type ready, where you're from, what you shoot, and what you shoot with. Type ready, where you're from, what you shoot, and what you shoot with. Let's get this thing swinging into gear. Okay, let me take off that and boom. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up? Hope you're all well. Wasn't here last week, obviously. You guys know that because you weren't here last week, and I won't be here next week either. Okay, so we're gonna have to make this one count and hold for a little bit, all right? Got Quinn with me. Say what's up, Quinn. Great. Thank you. No, thank you. Hope you guys are doing well. What? No one types ready. No one types what they will shoot. No one types what they shoot with. And you expect me to tap dance for you guys? What's going on here? What's going on, Heidi, Tony, Sean, Edgar? What's going on, everyone? Am I on that much of a delay? Maybe I'm on a super delay today. That could be it. Could totally be it. What's going on, Eric? How are you? There's a bunch of stuff going on. This is the last few weeks of the year here for the event space, and they're not slowing down at all. So this is gonna be a little crazy. Quinn needs a holiday outfit. That is her holiday outfit. I don't think you guys realize that. I shoot photos with a camera. Cute. Cute. You're a Canon guy, Kurt. Don't even try to hide it. Sean from Connecticut. All right, so real quick, I want to go through what's going on with the events coming up for the rest of the year. And we're going to get into your questions that I have a few on the IG story sticker that I put up on my personal IG. If you aren't following me, you can follow me here. Okay. What's going on, Dale? How are you? Okay. So really quick, boom, we got a bunch of stuff. So on Wednesday, the 3rd, Fujifilm's going to be in here with the GFX Eterna. All right, you're going to be able to actually check it out. It's like hands-on with the Eterna cinema camera. Even if you're not into cinema, it's just kind of cool to see like the first Fujifilm cinema camera. If you're around, come hang out. They're going to put the 32, is it? Yeah, the 32 to 90 millimeter lens on that, so you guys can get a feel for it. So if you've had any questions about it, if you've wondered what's going on with it, if you wanted to get it in your hands, you've seen so much about it, because I think they were teasing this thing for like a year. And then we finally saw it at NAB, and it was like under glass, and then we finally got to mess with it. This thing's pretty cool. Don't forget, it also has some like really like quirky features. Like it has the Fujifilm battery inside, so you're not just the V-mount battery, but it has like a backup battery that if you are a Fujifilm shooter, you have these batteries. So it's kind of cool. You can check out the rest of the quirks, talk to somebody from Fujifilm to walk you through it. But that is on Wednesday from 1 to 5. So just swing through. It's not like a set event. You can just kind of come and hang out. The other thing that's coming up, which is really nuts, is the store Blitz Day. So I am not going to be here for this, but it is going to be bananas because Z100 is going to be here. Yeah, New York's own Z100 with Scary Jones. They're going to be giving away Jingle Ball tickets. So if you've been wanting to go to Jingle Ball, they're going to set up here. They're going to be broadcasting from here, and you can come down and you can win raffles. And I'm talking like legit prizes. Anybody that's been to an Adorama event knows that there's really good raffle prizes. I'm like shocked how good they get, how good the prizes they get from the brands are, or that they spring for themselves here at Adorama. So that is on December 4th all day from store open to close. That's 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come through, come hang out. If you really want those Jingle Ball tickets, I suggest you come early because it's going to be a madhouse in here. Hopefully my event space survives, but either way, come by, say what's up, and just come be part of it, right? It's happening all day. If you're in New York, swing by 42 West 18th Street. On Tuesday, Eric Hercules is going to be here, and I think he's pretty much doing his levitation photography, but right here in the event space. Could be wrong about that. He's probably going to go through some of his shots and explain a few of them, but he's also going to actually shoot, I believe. So he was on Coffee with Creators. If you want to get to know who he is, the Coffee with Creators episode is up on the main channel Look up Eric Hercules under the, maybe I'll throw the link in there. I'm then Wednesday, a week after the ticket raid, I'm going to go live with Scary Jones, the Z100 DJ that's been around forever, executive producer. We're going to be a lot of loud, animated New York talking in one space. So if you're into that. Also, Daniel Norton comes back and he is going to be doing what do you really need to light a portrait, meaning what is a good kit to get you started, what to think about, what type of look you're going for. This is a pretty good one. I think it's the most sensible you'll find, but he's also gonna talk real with you about what do you really need. Do you need a 1.2 lens for $3,000, or can you do it with a kit lens? He'll walk through all that. I mean, you guys know Daniel. That's December 11th. He'll be live on the main channel. And then I am returning. I am doing Evolve the Portrait. So basically, the demo I wanted to do a few weeks ago got kiboshed because we had a nor'easter flood going on here. My model could not make it. We had Justin come through on the fly, which was amazing. If you haven't checked out that demo, that is on this channel. You can go back and check that out. It was like October 30th or something like that. But this one, I'm gonna show, I always talk about my 3-shot method with you guys. Well, I think I'm gonna actually just do it, right? We're gonna do the safe shot. We're gonna do the next completely different look that we can swap into really quickly. And then the third shot, we're gonna go into something completely out of left field and get 3 drastically looking, different looking shots. And that will be my model. That is Kate. You probably saw her in the Nikon Z5 II video. She's amazing. She's got this like goth, cyberpunk looking Angelina Jolie vibe about her. I love shooting with her. So I think this will be pretty cool. Come hang out December 16th with me here. I'll be shooting with her, or join me right back in this live chat for you guys. And then December 17th, I got Coffee with Creators with Nicholas Heller. This is New York Nico on Instagram. New York Nico. If you don't follow that, you should. I think he finds the genuine heart of this city. He's really a people person, but he also has done a lot of good short films involving people, like the mayoral race or the marathon, and just like the real core of the humans here in New York. And then there's a DJI demo day later that day. You can try out all the stuff from DJI. I'm talking about the mics, I'm talking about the action cams, the Osmo Pocket, all that kind of stuff. And then I think the last thing we're gonna do for the year is Daniel Norton is gonna be in here, and he's gonna be talking about metering for skin tones, which we get a lot of questions about skin tones. We get a lot of questions about exposure, how to light for different skin tones. Again, I know I'm biased because Dan's my boy, but I think he does such a good job at explaining lighting different skin tones or exposure for skin tones. And you're gonna be surprised by some of the answers, and he's gonna show you in front of your face what he's talking about. So this is a lot of stuff happening for just this month, guys. I mean, you got something going on multiple times a week. And you know, some of it's all day like the Z100 thing, all right? Oh man, so I know that was a lot. I just wanted to get you guys back on get on page with you guys, all right? Hey, what's going on, EJ? How are you? Gamer Spot, not GameSpot, Gamer Spot, see? My question is, what basic to mid kit to shoot video using A6700, mostly content creation for business like restaurants and small businesses? What do you consider a kit? What are you asking as far as, if you have the camera, what kit are you looking for? So are you going to be miking people up with a lav mic, or are you going to be using a shotgun mic to capture ambient audio? Are you going to put a cage on there and put on a light because you want to have an on-camera light source? What are you really asking for as far as a kit goes? The first question you got to ask yourself is, what type of films do I want to create? What look do I want to create? And what tools do that kind of thing? For example, I rarely use a shotgun mic because I'm usually living myself up to talk like this to camera. That is probably not what you're doing. If you're going to go to small businesses and just roam free and capture B-roll and then do a voiceover narrative, I don't know. So you got to pick what your project is, the style of that project, and what tools do what you're trying to do. Okay. Hey, what's up, Cisco? No, thank you. Listen, I can't do any of this if you guys don't show up. I keep telling you that. This channel, this year alone, has quadrupled, and I cannot thank you guys enough. We are on track to hit 50K. If I can do it before 2026, I would be psyched, but I know that is a huge hill to climb. Either way, if we hit 50K, I know we can hit 100K. And if I get 100K, I can get more resources for you guys. We can do some bigger things. You know, the more the numbers, the more the resources I can fight for. You know what I'm saying? So this is, all of us are in this together. Okay, guys? And as always, if you guys have questions, you can throw them in the chat. I will do my best to jump on them. Throw a bunch of Q's, like capital Q's before it so I can check it out. How's my ankle? Weak. It was a really bad traumatic double sprain, and I feel pretty good, but I'm not running. I'm not pushing it. Unfortunately, it's going to have to hold up because I am headed to London with Joe McNally this week. We're going to be teaching a 2-day workshop over there in London, so I'm not going to be here, and I'm going to be lugging some gear and traveling a little bit. So thanks for asking. I appreciate you. What's going on, Paul? Okay, so I put up a question sticker on my IG for you guys to I'm going to go to the questions on my phone, Tony. I know not everybody follows me, and you're not obligated to follow me. It's just an easy place for me to get a starting point for these things, because I literally come in here cold, not knowing what we're going to do, not knowing what you're going to ask, and I do my best for you guys, right? But I think 33 weeks of this, we've done pretty good, Let's take a look at what those questions are in the question sticker. Where are you? Boy, I put up a lot of stories. Okay. So Tom's asking if you're in here, when will we be able to purchase the pizza box reflector? So you're talking about the Brooklyn reflector, right? I got bad news for you guys. The Brooklyn reflector that we all, ooh, look at the reflection. Oh, look at the drop shot. Oh, the fill. Oh, and then of course you got the punchy silver, which is just insane, right? I'm really glad you guys are psyched on this. Unfortunately, good news is we give these away. Bad news is they're not shippable really. So everyone keeps saying we should sell these, and I keep saying, you guys don't understand. You can't roll them. You can't fold them. To ship a flat piece of cardboard is going to be astronomical as far as shipping goes. So it's just not feasible, or sensible rather. The way to get these is you come to an event at the event space. If I have any on hand, if you ask me for them, I give you one. If you are come to the trade shows, Adorama makes sure to have a good amount of them at the booth. Just ask for one and you get one, right? Of course, while supplies last, whatever, I do want to do another run of these at some point. But so far we got a good amount. I mean, these are, maybe we'll use this on my December 16th demo, I don't know. The December 16th demo is going to go pretty haywire pretty quick. I'm expecting that to go just against the wall pretty fast. Ship them in a larger pizza box. That sounds smart till you realize what you just said there, Larry checking in from Ohio. Great job with the Matthews stand. Oh yeah, I have a new video on my channel about the Matthews stand. They updated the legendary Murph stand, if you didn't know. I'm a big fan of the Murph stand. I think most longtime people in this industry are, so however, look, the cool thing about this is you don't need this to do the whole spirit and essence of the Brooklyn reflector. All you need is a real clayboard pizza box, not white cardboard, not they do like a matte paper. What you want is clayboard. It has like a little bit of a sheen to it, and it is one of the best reflectors ever, but you can have access to this. So I know some pizzerias now are doing like the brown boxes and stuff. What I used to do, if you saw me at a trade show, was you'd get the 14-inch box. This is a 12-inch. You get the 14-inch. They can't go bigger than 14 inches because it's so thin clayboard that it stops holding shape. So that's when it goes to corrugated cardboard, and corrugated cardboard does not come in clayboard. Clayboard is a whole different surface, okay? What I used to do at the trade shows was I'd line the inside of it with just a real quick piece of aluminum foil and some gaff tape, and you've got a silver reflector and a white reflector. This is just kind of saving you that step, and it's giving you the full 14 inches. What kills me is when you go to places at the trade shows, like Imaging USA is going to be at Nashville. they see a box like this and they think this is pizza. This is 14 inches. This is like 2 New York slices. In Nashville, this might be a whole pie to you. In New York, this is not a whole pie. We want our 18 inches. We want 18 inches or larger here, okay? It needs to be blessed with the essence of Seth. Yeah, okay. And oh, by the way, if you guys want on this playlist for this live stream, there is a Brooklyn Reflector rundown where I show you how we make it into a softbox. So a lot of people skip that part. They don't realize that the Brooklyn Reflector, when you get one in like a real brand new one, inside this is the grease paper that the pizza would be on. You can use this as a diffuser so you can make a softbox out of the pizza box. I'm not making this up. Check out that stream. There are 32 other episodes of this, guys. Like, there's so much stuff there and none of the views are really up there. So if you are into this format and you are feeling this, or you need something to just play while you're editing or whatever, just keep you company, check out the rest of this playlist, please, or share the videos. I really would appreciate it. Either way, I still think this format is important no matter what the numbers are. What is this? No, I don't want that. Hey, what's going on, Kristen? So yeah, unfortunately, can't ship the Brooklyn Reflector, but it also isn't for sale. You guys can just come and grab one if you want. You know, it's ideally we probably could sell for a decent amount. What would you guys even, just out of curiosity, what would you guys even think is a fair price for a pizza box reflector? Tell me in the chat. Give me your bids. Be realistic. I'm really curious what you guys value that at, because to me it's a piece of cardboard. Yes, it's custom, but it's a piece of board, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't think I'm shylarky enough. I don't think I'm enough of a grifter for this, you know? Okay, so $10. I was thinking that. I was thinking like $9. Yeah, something like that. And I was thinking about doing like a 3-pack if we were to sell them, because I don't think you'd want just one. I think you'd want a few. I'm not bringing any to London. No, if you try flying with some pizza boxes, I already got a bunch of gear on me, so no, I won't be. $20, really? Wow. Yeah, I think somewhere around the $10 range makes sense to me. Why would my signature means nothing? I don't know. Technically, they're already signed. The print on there is signed. All right. So, my phone. Oh. Let's take a look at the other questions in the question sticker. The other question is from Tony, who I think is in the chat right now. Yeah, so I said that too. I said if they order something massive or whatever, they get one. But we only did a small run of these. There isn't like a lot of them. So it's almost like every decent camera would end up getting a free pizza box. We'd have to do a massive run of it. This is still the first run of the pizza box. And I didn't know how popular this would be. I know it would be fun and people... Here's the thing that no one talks about, especially if you're a freelancer or you are only talking to people that know you. Everyone that you know will always say, hey, your work is great, or, oh, that's awesome. And real friends will support it by supporting you, by hiring you or buying your product or something like that. People that say they're your friend will expect one for free, right? And so when I was putting out the pizza box, I was like, everyone's like, this is amazing. And then when I was like, could I, with a straight face, charge people for a piece of cardboard, right? And everyone's like, yeah. Oh, I totally buy that. Until you put a price tag on it. And then they go, I could do without that. I don't know. So it's tough to gauge before something is a reality. Now that it's been out for a year or so, totally overwhelmed by the response that I've gotten from it, especially at the trade shows. And we'll see what goes on. Maybe we'll take another look at this. Maybe we'll redesign it a little bit. I don't know. I don't know yet. We still have the initial run of them. So by the way, just so you know, I'm the poor sap that has to take these from flat, fold them, bag them, and put the grease paper in there. I'm doing each one of these myself by hand. So don't overlook that labor. It's But I tell you what, I did 13 years as a screen printer in between jobs. So I'm used to very repetitive, stuff. So I just kind of put on something I want to watch on YouTube on my phone and just kind of zone out and get it done. No free lunch in this world. We're not going to get into that. $10 in the store is fair, 30 with shipping. So what if I told you the shipping was more than that? Because the size is 14 by 14 and because it can't be bent, between the materials to keep it from getting bent and the actual shipping cost, it is just, I'm sorry, it's just so not, it's just not there. It's just not there. All right. So Tony asks, rear curtain sync versus first curtain sync, why and when to use each. Okay, so what is first curtain and what is rear curtain? Okay, I tell you what, we'll use this pizza box as... So you guys know that when you guys are shooting, your shutter opens, but it doesn't just open and close. It opens and then a second, actually it goes like this, opens and then a second curtain comes down, right? So your first curtain, your second curtain, and that's your shutter. That's actually your shutter. Even with electronic, you're talking about it making a row of pixels active and rolls down. This is what we call rolling shutter, except for global where it's just on and off, right? But no matter what, that shutter still has a time to it, whether it's 1 second or 1/1000th of a second. The difference is that you are telling in rear curtain or first curtain when to fire that strobe. First curtain sync is take a shot, first curtain goes, that's when your flash goes off. The shutter's open and then it closes. Rear curtain sync, your curtain opens, then flash right before the second curtain hits. What's the difference? Well, if I am shooting at, let's say, a 15th of a second, which is pretty slow, click, flash. Well, between here and here, that moment of time, there was something in front of my lens and it was reflecting light. So when we do shutter drag, you typically lean on rear curtain sync because you want to see the motion that happened, then the flash freezes your subject instead of seeing where your subject starts frozen and then you see the motion afterwards. Anyone who has seen an old manual of a camera that has a built-in flash or something, they would always give you the same example of a moving car. So if you used rear sync, you would see the car and then the trail of their red lights behind them, and you would see where they came from and frozen where they stopped. If it was first curtain, you would see the car and then the trail in front of the car, which would almost look like it's kind of going, it's a little backwards, right? Or it's showing you where it will be going instead of where it has been, right? So that's your decision. It's a creative decision. There's no right or wrong answer. But in my opinion, I have always used rear curtain sync because I am of the camp where I want to see the motion leading up to that pinnacle moment. If I got someone dribbling a basketball, then taking a shot, I want all the crazy erratic movement and then flash. In order to do that, they're starting to dribble, I open the shutter. That's not first curtain, because if it was first curtain, it would flash while they're dribbling. Then the shutter stays open, and when they shoot their shot, I wouldn't see a frozen pinnacle shot, but I would see all that motion of where they're going to go. I'm in the camp of, no, I want to see that pinnacle shot frozen, so that's rear curtain sync, where shutter opens, no flash, crazy erratic movement, you're seeing blurry, 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 and then boom, flash. That's right before that second curtain hits. The problem you're going to run into is, how do you determine when that's enough time? Well, one way to do that is shoot in bulb. Bulb, if your camera has it, lets you hold down your shutter and then release it when that shot's over. The problem with that, a lot of people aren't trained to have the muscle memory to know when to release the shutter, because you guys are probably so used to it doesn't matter after you take that shot. It only matters when you press it, not when you let go. That's something you got to learn. That's a little bit of a muscle memory technique you got to kind of build up a little bit, in my opinion. You also have to gauge timing. The beginning of my career started engaging the timing of BMX riding, right? So guys would be jumping things or grinding things or jumping downstairs or whatever, or doing spins, whatever it was. But I would kind of fine tune when that shutter needs to open and close. And if it was a half second, I knew where they would be in a half second or something like that. But if you aren't going to do something like a definitive time, bulb is the setting you want to try it in, and then you want to keep on practicing. A really good way to get some practice in on this is a tennis ball, which is highly reflective. Bounce it and shoot it. Put the strobe where you're going to want to light, but know that if I have it in first curtain sync and I throw the ball, it's going to flash when it hits, and then the shutter's still open. I'm going to get blur this way. If I do rear curtain sync, I take the shot, blur, 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 and then when the shutter's about to close, flash freezes it, and then you see where the ball has been. So it's either where it's going or where it's been is your blur, basically. Does that make sense? You guys just went totally quiet on me. I feel like maybe I made that a little too complicated. Basically, rear curtain fires the flash at the end of the exposure. First curtain fires at the beginning of the exposure, and that exposure time is up to you. So if you want to show where something is at a pinnacle moment after it did the thing, you're going to want to do rear curtain. If you want it to freeze them and then show a blurry shutter, a little bit of blur to where it's going in the future, first curtain. Also, this is a technique that doesn't have to be drastic. First or rear curtain sync. I tend to lean on rear curtain, like I said, but you could do it very subtly. In fact, Joe McNally is like, I don't want to say he's like the guy who started or whatever, but he is so prolific with it, I'll say. Even in some of his portraits, he'll do rear curtain sync and just slow enough to show a little bit of their shoulder movement or their hair moving in the environment. You know, just enough so that it's not stagnant or boring. Just enough so that it's got some dynamic, some like really beautiful blurriness to it that's not just out of focus, but motion. When they have I'll show you. One of Joe McNally's best, Joe McNally, China dress. One of my favorite ever of Joe McNally. Come on, Joe. Tell me you put it online somewhere. This is a drastic case with Joe, but come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. I have this on my wall somewhere too. He has pictures of, where is it? Let me see. He has pictures of these amazing Chinese dresses, but there's one that's like famous because it was there it is. Come on. So this right here, look at that. That's rear curtain sync. He's letting the dress have all the motion, and then she's frozen where he wants her frozen. But you see the movement. It's not going backwards, right? This is one of my favorite. I love this shot with that Joe. I mean, it's just amazing. But this is a drastic case. There's plenty of times you'll see Joe do it on just a portrait. You know, just something a little bit. And I started adopting that technique a long time ago. And I think that's where I got kind of pigeonholed into being the shutter drag guy for a few years. Mainly, I did the shutter drag demos in here. Everything I shot with BMX and skateboarding was shutter drag to show how aggressive and fast and crazy and dynamic it was. But then I just kept on honing it and fine tuning it, because what you want to do is make the technique work for the shot. You don't want the shot to be all about the technique. The technique is just another tool. It is not the shot itself. And I think that's what shows sophistication with people who really shoot, is not just showing techniques for the sake of showing techniques, but applying them. And even if it's just a little bit there, tiny little tastes of something, it's elevating that shot, man. You're just elevating it. you know? Yeah. Shutter drag works really well for dance floor shots. Sure. And anybody that goes to like a punk show or a concert, almost everybody is shot in rear sync at that point, right? Lead singer's jumping, you got them blurry, then they're frozen, you've got guitar swinging, you've got all sorts of stuff. Don't forget your own movement with the camera. So if there's stage lights or anything, that's creating all these crazy laser beam looking things. So yeah, there's totally times for either one, but the creative choice is up to you, which is always the case. Whether that shot is successful, whether that shot is showing what you want it to show, that is another story, and that will be determined by your audience. You know, so I think we all try some weird, tricky technique, and we get like a little bit of it to work, and we just freak out and go, look at what I did. But okay, cool. You're starting to understand how it works. Now work it so that it's applied to something that elevates the subject, elevates the frame, elevates the shot, you know? Do I have anything on my website? My website's so old, guys. Let me see if I have any old BMX shots with shutter drag. If I do, they were shot on slide film and they're like 20 years old. Let me see. Wow, I don't even have a BMX section up anymore. Wow, it's got to be under archives. Okay, so this is rear curtain sync with, actually this might be first curtain sync, believe it or not, where I just made some headlights do a lot of weird stuff. This is all junky stuff. That's shutter drag. This is shutter drag. I mean, this is very old stuff. This is crazy amateur looking stuff, but this is what Seth was doing when he was a teenager. Double exposure. This is shutter drag technically because the lights are coming through the bike and you can see his head is a little ghosty. This is totally shutter drag because you could see his white shirt reflecting. We broke those doors. I remember this one. We had to run. Cops were coming, so I didn't have a lot of time. Shutter drag, shutter drag. Light leaks. Yeah, this is all junky work. All junky work. But that was teenage Seth doing that, so it is what it is. Question, do you manually discharge the flash to have several sharp points? Wait a second. Do you manually discharge the flash do you manually, I'm sorry guys, do you manually discharge the flash to have several sharp points with the movement in a picture? If you multi-pop your strobe, wherever you pop the strobe and whatever it reflects off of will be frozen, given that the flash duration's fast enough. What I mean by that is if you have a speed light at full power, odds are the flash duration's so long that it is not going to freeze as clean as it could. So that's something to think about. But pretty much anywhere, here, let's do this. Anywhere we got a flash, pop, 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 right? Think about it this way. Frozen, 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 frozen. Actually, do I have that somewhere? One of the first videos I ever did. Oh, this is, okay, perfect. Man, old Seth with his old, never updated website. So this is shutter drag, right? This is the first video of me on Adorama TV with Daniel Norton. Me and him did this video together. That's an LED panel behind her. You can actually see someone's hand holding it right here. But here is multi-pop versus long shutter. So you can see multi-pop, she has multiple arms, right? She's got a Vitruvian Man thing going on. Bottom one, it's just a long shutter and it's basically a hummingbird, right? Blur versus definitive multiple exposures. They're just showing technique there, but you get it. Jim, yo, get out of here. Guys, Jim in the chat, I don't even know how to properly say your name, Silnicki. This guy was, oh my God. Yo, your stickers, man. So, okay. So Jim, Jim in the shot was, in the chat right now, is a OG pro BMX rider. I followed him as a kid when I was shooting for the magazines. I loved his style. He was one of the sickest ever, and he had a signature bike frame that Solinsky. All right, he had a signature bike frame that his stickers went down the tube, and they had keys falling through the words. And I'm pretty sure that stuck with me for a long time, Jim. And I think you had one with a audio tape, right? Like a cassette tape. Am I wrong? I can't remember. But I definitely had the stickers with the keys, and I always kept on trying to get more of them and stick them all over my stuff. And I lost them all over I mean, this is what? How long is this ago, Jim? Like what? 20? This has got to be like 20 years, right? I mean, forget about it. You know. Man, I'm so psyched you're in the chat right now. Thanks so much. You know, I never got to shoot with this guy, and that's fine. I shot for Dig BMX and Ride BMX back then. I did a lot of contributing, never like staff, but you know, whatever. Cassette tape was the second one. Okay, so I didn't have the cassette tape one. I had the keys one. 2004? Wow. Yeah, that makes sense because all the BMX shots are from like 2000. All my BMX shots are 2000 to 2009, I think, was my time frame of shooting BMX. Oh, this is so cool. Thanks so much for joining, Jim. I appreciate you. Man, by the way, I got new stickers. I got new Last Witness stickers. I got their, do you guys want to see the new stickers or am I boring you? Where are they now? That's a good question. So they just came in. I always want to do chrome because chrome is BMX's hell. Are you kidding me? It's super, super, very GT. So this is my new sticker with the chrome. Ooh, chromey chrome, right? Super chrome. And then these are what they call Vaporwave, which is kind of like a metallic-y, satiny hologram. It doesn't really show on the camera, but when it's in the sun, you can really see it pretty well. And those are my new stickers for the new season. So if you see me at a trade show, be like, yo, Seth, let me get some stickers. I'll be like, all right, let me see what I got in my pockets, you know? Do a retro shoot. Honestly, Jim, you still ride BMX, man? I think you're on a big bike now, right? I'm like, I still got my bike. I haven't ridden in a long time. I'm so nervous to break something to a point where I cannot work. And it's just, I haven't jumped on the bike in a long time. And I'm still dealing with this ankle. So yeah, the chrome stickers are sick. I've been wanting chrome stickers since day one. I ended up doing hologram and matte hologram. So yeah, I used to put the stickers in the pizza box. The difference is these stickers come out of my own pocket and this is Adorama funded. So, you know, burning 1,000 stickers is a few $100, guys. So I did that for the first giveaway. And then after that, I was like, I can't keep doing this. I'm burning money on stickers. Tristan, next time you're here, tell me you want Vaporwave. I'll make sure I have some here. The Vaporwave is very cool in person. It doesn't look, you need like a hard light source to really see it. This is too diffused over here. Anyway, so that was a crazy rabbit hole explanation on rear curtain and first curtain sync. Tell me that made sense to you guys. Is anybody not coherent on the difference between rear curtain and first curtain sync? And you know, this is all dependent on what you're trying to do. And I will say, I think while shutter drag and rear curtain and first curtain sync strobe can easily look like people are doing something cool, it's the people that shoot that really dial it in perfect. That's the elevated, that's the sophisticated. Joe McNally is one of my favorite shutter drag guys ever, for sure. And when I do the demo, I don't do the demo anymore where we just like move really fast. I try to show it in a very subtle, elevated way now, because I think everyone gets the really drastic shutter drag of like Ghost, Frozen, and all that kind of stuff. But although I think my Instagram is still probably showing a ton of shutter drag, who knows? I don't update anything anymore. anything here. This is shutter drag rear sync. So you can see that the ghost is happening, right? And then I freeze her at the pinnacle of the shot. Very different than first curtain sync. This is never going to load, is it? Come on. So this is shutter drag, but more subtle, right? So we're seeing the movement of the outfit, which is moving slower because it's got literal drag from the air. And then she's frozen clean. Beautiful face, really shows her extension, everything, right? So I usually show those images off. Those were just with one speed light too. So where is the shutter drag that I know I probably have up here somewhere? This is shutter drag. She's wearing necklace full of, what do you call those things? Those glow in the dark, you crack them and you wear them, you know, the rave kid stuff. But I wanted to give it a little bit of like some alien flair there, you know? And even though this is stable, you can see that there's just a little bit of what's going on here, right? This is drastic. This is also an outtake because you're seeing the guy who's filming me. But you can see that I wanted you to see where she starts, which is she's facing away from me. She's facing away from me, right? And then she's frozen walking towards me. That's rear curtain sync. First curtain sync means she would be frozen here, and then I would get a blur coming at me, which might have been okay, but don't forget, she's facing away from the light source, so there wouldn't be a face there. She wouldn't have reflected enough light to get a definitive looking face. Here, she's silhouetted by the light source right near her, and you're able to get an outline. So to me, that I went with rear curtain sync there. That was the ProPhoto B10X video. Let me see. This is shutter drag. This is 2 LED tubes on either side. This is also a video on Adorama TV. If you look up, man, what was it under? Millennium FX. We went to Millennium FX, which is Doctor Who's special effects workshop with Neil Gorton. And this is done with by Rebecca Butterworth, I think her name was. Betterworth, I think her name was. Very cool people. This is one of the oldest shutter drags I've done. LED lights underneath the makeup, have them move. That's rear curtain sync. Where they move, then the freeze, right? This is rear curtain sync, you know? Actually, no, that's rear curtain sync. I moved the camera to make the LEDs and the makeup go in shape with the makeup. And this is probably the one I was looking for. This one was the special effects Makeup Forever video from Paris. And I did this one as RGB as well, which is somewhere. Even, I think this even has shutter drag in it. Does it? No. This definitely has shutter drag. See how it's subtle? It comes through the dreadlocks over here. Subtle. But if it wasn't there, it wouldn't look like special. It wouldn't look sci-fi. That fogging, that blur of the hair, like that's shutter drag. I know this is shutter drag, but this was on a trade show floor. You can see the LEDs behind her. Rain, I love it. Rainy. This is shutter drag, actually. I pointed a projector at her hair, but it had to stay open long enough to have the projector reflect off of her hair, right? And so you only saw the doves when she kicked her hair because there's nothing for that projector to reflect off of until the hair is there. So long shutter, right? Trying to find something, man. I really have not updated this. This is shutter drag. You can see the lights coming over her shoulder. Again, subtle, not, oh, look at how crazy it is. Like that, which is just bananas. And this one was the first live stream shutter drag demo I ever did, but that is rear curtain. You're seeing the range of motion. Had this been first curtain, you would have just seen her face here and a bunch of blur, and it wouldn't have done anything, right? You want to really be deliberate, really have intent. Why are you using the technique? How can you optimize the technique? And how can the technique optimize the frame, right? Come on. This is shutter drag. This is definitely, this is rear curtain for sure. I had her look one way, open the shutter, I move the camera, have her look the other way, freeze, right? Flash at the end, right? I think this is a Ghost of the Titanic that I was supposed to shoot for the makeup artist. I had her put the tickets in her mouth that I thought were creepy. You know, the usual. Where is this drag? This is rear curtain. Had her just move her head, right? I even did it with my mom. This is my mom doing it with rear curtain sync. I wanted to have a little bit of movement in this crazy lady's face, you know? Movement in the hands, movement in the hair. She's flipping the hair. She's feeling, look at that look on her face. My mom, that's Vanessa Joy. This is rear curtain, just to give it some presence. This is a sculpture, not even a makeup. Rear curtain, if it was first curtain, her head would have been frozen here, and we wouldn't really see this where she's looking right through us. So again, that was a decision, right? And then this is the RGB version of that movement, where if it was first curtain, again, it would have been frozen here, but you wouldn't have really seen anything over here because there's no light reflecting over here. If there was this RGB light reflecting, you wouldn't have gotten this so clean, right? You would have had some stray exposure off of the reflection of that makeup. Sorry if I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole there. Do you use ISO for background control? What's your procedure? First TTL. So you're not going to like this answer, Art, but there is a 2 or 3 of these demos, which are an hour piece on my personal channel. So instead of me walking through all that with the 10 minutes I got left here, I'm going to direct you over to that. So if you just go to my social, go to my channel, there's 2 shutter drag demos on there for you that iron it all out for you, okay? Rear curtain seems to make more sense. Why do cameras come programmed with first curtain out of the box then? Because most times, if you're not going for the blurred look, what you want is the freeze at the time you're taking the photo. Does that make sense? So most people, out of the box, oh, I see a thing, click, flash. They don't go click, blur, 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 and then flash after the moment they were trying to shoot. So it's kind of like safer. Rear sync is just elevated and cooler, you know what I'm saying? What are the usual shutter speeds during second curtain sync? Depends on your ambient light situation, right? Because your shutter being open is collecting all of that ambient light, right? So that could be a half second, it could be a 60th of a second. The length of that time is going to determine how much of it's is affecting that exposure. So for example, in this space, I got pretty good light control. We're shooting at f8 usually. We're shooting at ISO 100. Like you got pretty good light control in here. Maybe I'll get, I don't know, I'm just making numbers up here. Maybe I'll get a 1/4 of a second shutter. But if I'm in a more well-lit area, it might only be a 30th of a second. In fact, when I was doing shutter drag on stage for one of the trade shows, I think it was Comic-Con. There's an old video on the main channel of me and Daniel Norton at Comic-Con teaching people how to shoot cosplay. It's a real thing. And I did shutter drag, but what I did was I measured the light in the Javits Center, which is a convention center, to see how long of a window I could go for. You know what I'm saying? The longer the window, the more control I have, because I can always either add light or I can raise my ISO, or, you know, there's all these different things you can adjust to shorten the shutter down. Like if I had a second long shutter and I added in a constant light, I could always move that light closer, raise the power of that light, whatever, but I have that control. The longer I have, the more control I have in the situation. But I had to measure that area, you know? The last demon photo, what was the shutter more or less during? The one with the RGB, this one? So this one was in a dark studio, lots of control, probably a full second, 1 second, maybe. I just finished doing proofs for a job that's coming up. I can't really talk about it yet. I will though. That involves a shutter drag sort of element. And when I went to visit the site that I'll be shooting at, I made sure to pull out my phone and just get a rough light meter app reading of what I'm going to be working in. Thanks so much, Diego. And so that gave me an idea of, okay, I have this window to work in. What can I do at my studio? And so I did that, right? And I worked within that constraint. So now when I showed them the proofs of the example images that I'm going to be trying to shoot for them, they aren't looking at something I'm guessing, and then I'm going into an environment that I'm hoping I'm more in a ballpark that will just work. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, the more control you have means the less ambient light you have in the area, in your environment, and then you can always add the ambient light. I mean, you can get something as easy as this. This is a full RGB light. This is a full RGB light, 120 watt, full RGB, super lightweight, Nanlite FC120C. You could, if you have control over the environment and then you introduce this light, you could do whatever. You know what? I tell you what, how about I set this up? I'll do a shutter drag with Quinn, even though she doesn't move, and we'll mitigate from there. You guys want to do that? Well, that's how because I feel like this is going to be my last stream for a little bit, because I gotta leave town on this week. So maybe we'll set this up really quick and we'll see what we can do really quick with some sort of shutter drag technique. So one thing to show the shutter drag that I'm going to need is tight beam angle. You don't want your lights going literally everywhere if you're trying to control it. Does that make sense? There are some shutter drag techniques that you're flooding the place with light and you're just kind of popping in strobe where you can, and respect to all those guys that do that. To me, those are kind of like rolling dice and hoping, and we'll see what we get. When you have more control, you are able to do a lot more. You know, you guys with me? Everybody with me? And don't forget, guys, hitting like helps out the channel, helps me out, and you know, these streams could use a little help. I'll just say that. All right, let's set this light up. I'll throw some color at it, you know. But this is an easy light, by the way, that I think you guys are in one of the most advantageous eras I have ever seen in this industry. I mean, you're talking about having full RGB light control in the palm of your hand. It's just nuts. And this is 120 watts. This is not a low power bulb here. We're talking about some power. I mean, that's 100. That's at 100 and it's magenta. So it's on magenta. I'll leave it on magenta. All right. So I don't have a grid for this thing, unfortunately. So I just have to look at where it's spreading. Man, my eyes are killing me right now. Let me get a tether going, and then we'll introduce a strobe once we get our base exposure, okay? So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my ISO low, obviously, because we want to control the light in the space, right? So we want to do ISO 100. We want to try to get that chip to eliminate the space, the light in the space, but then we want to get to an exposure where this starts coming into play and we keep it. Does that make sense to you guys? Talk to me, guys. Seriously, you're killing me right now. Killing me, Smalls. All right, let me put this up. I'm literally doing shutter drag on the fly for you. This is a Nikon Z6 III. You're also watching me on a Nikon Z6 III. This is a multicam of Z6 IIIs, guys. So these are all Z6 IIIs. Nikon's been a huge supporter of the event space. We always want to say a huge thank you to them. And I'm going to be... Hey, what's up, Joe? How you been, man? Are you here today, Joe? All right, let me throw... Hold on. I am not fully set up here. Okay. So right now we're at f8 ISO 100 at 200th of a second, which is the fastest I will go with my shutter, but that's not going to give us a drag, okay? I'm going to shut this light off because the first thing I want to shoot with is Jersey, all right. What's the first thing we want to do here if we're trying to figure out what our ambient light's doing here? What's the first thing? So this one, first of all, I think the 120C is a nice sweet spot for a light that's easy to have around, easy to carry, easy price point. But again, it's a 120, right? So if you're looking to keep up with a strobe, meaning you want to match exposures with strobes, you might need a little more power, but we're gonna see what this thing can do right now. And again, I have not shot with this configuration. You're watching this in real time, guys. Black frame, we wanna get a black frame because once we get a black frame, we know that the exposure is in control. That means that we can figure out our exposure to get this to come into play, all right? So let's see what we got with a black frame at, oh, great, okay. Let's see, let's try to get this done pretty quick. Also, I am in some crazy, crazy settings. What am I doing? What am I doing here? What was I doing with this camera? Hang on, let me just get this. So I'm gonna do the 120C, and then what we'll do is we'll throw a, you guys choose. We can either do a gridded white Magnum, which you guys have seen me use before, the white Magnum, if you guys know what I'm talking about, or we can do a beauty dish, gridded beauty dish. It's the only two things I can think of right now that I got to have a tight beam angle. Who is whistling? All right, let's get this black frame going. Turn that off, and I can even go, we'll just do a straight up frame. So I'm gonna do it horizontal because we're gonna wanna see some movement, right? Right now, oh wow, the last thing we shot was that Stranger Things red thing. Right now, she's faintly there. I do not have a lot of leeway. If I go into the exposure slider and I raise it up, I'm already seeing her at about a stop, 2 stops. So we got to figure something out here. One, do we choke the light out with aperture? Or if I have the ability, maybe I'll just shut off some lights. Yeah, I'm totally cheating. You know why? Because it's totally an option, so I'm going to take it. Otherwise, what I could do is, one, you could close down your aperture, which I really don't feel like doing. Two, I could dial back my ISO to 64, which I don't think is smart. It's not going to save me that much. It's not going to do enough because we're only going to be introducing more and more light as we slow the shutter down. So what I'm going to do is, one, I'm going to shut off these 2 lights I got over here that do that orange rim light, that warm rim light. I'm also going to shut off this light that is pointed right at Quinn. Why not? All right, I probably just saved myself a whole bunch of headaches right now. And I'll shut off this side too. So now the light coming this way, that will be reflecting off of an all white mannequin. I'm sorry, I mean a lovely woman. Let's take a look at her again. Oh, I just fired a strobe, didn't I? I just fired a strobe. Let me shut this off. Okay. So now we take a look at this. Now we got a little bit of blue light coming in, but nothing on her face. You notice that? I'm okay with this because I'm going to be putting light there anyway. What I want to do, why are you doing this? What I want to do is freeze. What is going on with this? What is going on with this? Hang on a second, guys. What I want to do is make sure that this area that has her face stays dark. And right now we're 2 stops overexposing it and we still don't see her face. So wherever there is not light, I can put light, and that's where I'm going to put my strobe, right? So that's what our frame looks like right now. Even if we expose for the ambient to come up, her face is still dark. That lets me know that only my strobe is going to be filling in that area because I'm controlling that. I'm putting that strobe in, right? So let's throw a strobe in there and see what shape we can make. What'd you guys choose? Magnum, only one of you? What are we doing? Yeah, gridded what though? Magnum or beauty dish? If you want to do, I'm about to just say Magnum because it's easier for me to grab and I'm running out of time. So, did someone say gridded Magnum? Great, let's do that. My strobe is sitting on this table over here. I'm doing this on the fly for you guys, so hang tight. If you have any questions, ask them, but we got to get moving here. I'm going to throw a sandbag on here just to be safe. Okay. And don't forget, I got the modeling light too, which can show me where this light is spreading, but I don't want to keep it on. Why wouldn't I want to keep the modeling light on? Think. Why wouldn't I want the modeling light on during the shot? Talk to me, guys. Talk to me, baby. Okay. Let's turn on this. Okay, so I can pitch this down and just give her a little light right where, right on her face. Actually, let me see if I can get a different angle for you guys. Does that show you guys like it's only on her face pretty much, give or take, right? Only on her face. You guys see that? It's not, we're not putting a strobe over here. We're making sure there's nothing reflective over here like white walls or boards or anything, right? Right? So let's get a TTL exposure. Right. Right. So you don't want the modeling light on while you're doing the shot because the modeling light itself will act like ambient light. It will affect the shutter drag because we're going to introduce constant light. That's a constant light. And constant lights, modeling lights inside strobes have just gotten that much more brighter and cleaner and better that they are becoming constant lights. I use the Pro Photo constant lights all the time to quickly light myself for videos. I wouldn't say it's a video light, but you can do it. So let's get, man, I'm doing too many things at once. Okay, let's get an exposure going on this strobe. I'm just gonna do a quick TTL. Gonna take a look at my girl. TTL, let's take a look. Okay, it's actually just a touch. I said, no, it's not hot. That's texture in that highlight. So that's on exposure. But we were here, we're lighting her here. If I go up to this one, I take the exposure slider and I raise it, we're filling in just the shadow that's there for the ambient light. Now, what I can do is slow my shutter just to see what the room light comes in. We already know that about 2 stops away, we're gonna start seeing that room light, right? Right, is that what I said? We go to 2 stops. 2 stops, you're gonna see that blue show up, which is overhead. I have those tubes in the sky, right? Okay, so if I go from 100 to about, if I go from 200th of a second to 100th of a second, that's a stop. 100th of a second, one more stop, 50th, right? So let's take a look. Let's see what this looks like with the strobe at a 50th. What a shock, guys. We start seeing the ambient light, right? So I already know that I got a 50th of a second before I start seeing some decent ambient light, right? Cool. If I put on this light now, which is probably gonna be way brighter than what's going on in the sky. Oh boy, that's bright. That's a lot of light, guys. In fact, what might happen is we're gonna see light reflected off of this projection screen and start infiltrating because I can already see it happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the angle of this light higher, pitch it down and away. So what I'm essentially getting now is just the back and shoulder instead of lighting that projection screen because right away that would have messed up this shot. What is this shot? I don't know yet. I really don't. I don't know yet, but we're going to take a shot at a 50th. It's probably going to be overexposed for the ambient light, but let's see what happens. Oh, let me put this on. All right. Let's probably going to be overexposed because that light is at full power. Let's take a look. All right, a little bit shows up, but since that's constant and this is strobe, I can now drag that shutter a little. I can drag that a little bit because I got a 50th of a second to play with. So right now we're not in rear curtain, we're in first curtain, which means it's flash and then the drag, right? So let's see what happens when I do just a quick shake. Aha. We're getting a little reflection off of somewhere that's causing this to blur a little bit. What I'm gonna do, oh, nope, I made a mistake. You guys aren't gonna believe this mistake, but here it is. I left it in TTL. Why isn't that good? Because TTL has a pre-flash and then a flash. That can affect how sharp this is. Not making this up. Let's see if I'm right. Again, I'm doing this on the fly while running a multicam while talking to you guys. So, you know. Looks a lot sharper to me. And that does have a blur to it, but we want a bigger blur, right? So 50th just isn't enough to get enough of a blur, really. Let's try this again. Okay, so we got a blur and we got sharp. But a 50th isn't really doing a lot, is it, right? So this is where we start playing those games. We can slow down the shutter even more. I'm gonna go kind of nuts here because we're running out of time. I'm gonna throw it at a 1/4 of a second. Why? Because I'm guessing. But we're at first curtain sync. Guess which way I moved guess which way I moved the camera, right? So a little bit of blur action going on there because I still think there's, with this slow of a shutter, that we are getting ambient light in here. And how can I check that? I can just kill the strobe and shoot at this exposure. And look at how much that light is not behind her, but what's happening? It's reflecting off of this white grid. You guys see that grid's turning pink? That pink is reflecting back at our subject. We could flag it. We could play some angles, play some game with angles, but I think what I'm gonna do is raise this out of the beam angle of the constant light so there's less reflection. What is that gonna do? Well, one, it's gonna drastically change the pattern of our shadows, and two, I'm gonna have to change the power of that strobe. So we just changed something. I'm gonna go back to our flash sync and just double check what that's looking like. So this is without a slow shutter, just to see what's happening, okay? Just to see what that strobe looks like. All right, so it still has detail, believe it or not. I'm gonna dial that flash down. Actually, let me do a TTL exposure because I was in manual. Take a look. All right. Not bad. We'll go with moody. That's fine. But now that there's less light reflecting off of that white grid, right? Now that there's less, you see how there's less reflecting off of this? Because we moved the angle of it. What I could do is pitch it down even more and really eliminate it, but let's just get going here. So let's go back to that 1/4 of a second that I was doing because that constant light didn't change, right? That constant light hasn't changed. So let's go back to the 1/4 of a second that I was shooting at. Let's take a look. She's sharper. Let's try moving the other way. Now, if I wanted this crazy sharp, we could eliminate those overhead blue lights. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Take out those. Now let's take a look at what this looks like without any of the blue tubes up in effect. Oh, lot sharper, huh? Why is that? Because we had another constant light in there. Everybody get it? And if I did it in rear curtain, what I would do is, let me show you guys really quick. If I did it in a rear curtain, what we want to do is end up where we want her, which is here. So we start here, blur, end here, right? So we focus where we end on the frame. Oh, I did TTL again, didn't I? But that's more or less shutter drag with a non-moving object, basically. Let me take it out of TTL because I'm an idiot. Try that one more time. Yeah. Yeah, that's sharp. I mean, I'm literally looking at little hot on the strobe, little bit. I'll dial that back. And actually lowering the power of the strobe gives us shorter flash duration, which is a bonus if you want to freeze something, right? Let's take a look. That's sharp. She's sharp. There's your drag, and there's your motion. The projection screen isn't throwing light. The projection screen is reflecting some light back for sure. There's only so much I can control in here, unless I shut all the lights off, which I don't really want to do. And we don't have to do left to right either. We can do, you know, something like that, or I'm stepping on everything. Whatever, I don't really like that, but let's say I did, you know, gave her a little long hair with light, you know, something like that. Does this all make sense? Boy, we just went down shutter drag real fast, real hard, real fast. Let's do a really drastic swing. And now you're using shutter drag as a broad stroke rather than to show some sort of pseudo motion on Quinn, right? Now it's just becoming like a fog, right? So you could even do it this way. And that over here, this is the windows on that far wall. But this is literally, look at how that is sharp, guys. That is, you're seeing the cracks in her makeup, but she's not moving at all, right? We're seeing detail in a matte white paint. We're seeing very clean and crisp. We're seeing every little tiny detail, but we're also getting this abstraction, right? And you can do a lot of things with zoom lenses and all sorts of stuff like that, but this is just like, I'm more in the camp of that's cool, but it quickly overtakes the shot, right? If we did that was a bad shot. Don't go with that one. You do something a little more like this, where it's not, that's a lot, but I could always, let's shorten the flash, shorten the shutter down by a couple stops. You know what I'm saying? When you do something like this, so now imagine you're shooting portraits of something documentary, right? Let's say you're shooting somebody hunting in the woods for whatever reason, and there's just a campfire lighting the side of their face, and you give it just a little bit of blur to their hair that's moving, or the hood that they got on their back, or some equipment that they're picking up. Now you're using this as a storytelling element rather than a gimmick. And I think that's the biggest problem that a lot of people have, is they start learning these techniques that are drastic, and they start turning into a gimmick machine. And I just don't think, it's doing what you think it's doing. The gimmicks can become distracting. The gimmicks can become almost like a preset you're slapping onto something, does that make sense? Like, think about what the technique does, apply it as you would to elevate what you're doing. Makes sense? I appreciate that, Dan. I will say this, doing these demos, one, I don't know what you guys are going to ask. Two, I'm running a multicam. Three, I'm trying to stick with you guys. Four, I'm trying to shoot and not get stuck on stupid little problems. But I think if I can get through this in front of your face in 10 minutes, you guys can figure it out in an afternoon. You know what I mean? Yes, you could totally apply this to like a bride's dress. A lot of people who shoot on rooftops will throw like a large scarf or some, or they do it a lot with maternity shoots. They have those like giant dresses that they throw that's like become pretty cliche. But yeah, you could do it. The reality is that you just don't want to be tacky, cheesy. You want to think a little elevated, put some sophistication behind it, and really think like not just make the effect blast, but does it add, right? Is it distracting from? Does it get your story or narrative over the goal line just that much more? That's really what you got to figure out and how to get it there, you know? You know, I wonder if, let me try one thing really quick because I never actually shot with this light yet, but it's a nice little banger. I want to put it low and put it right behind her. Let me see if this works. I'm going to put it so that's reflecting off the back of her shoulders. And let's just see if this can kind of give me, oh no, it's going to go right into that light. I don't have time to dial this one in, guys, but nah, I don't think it's going to do what I think it's going to do. Not with the way we have the strobe configured. No, it's not going to do it. Okay. I'll think on it a little bit. Maybe if I change the way we do the strobe next time, I'll figure it out. But that is, so, I got to tell you, like the 120s are a really handy thing to have around. You also don't forget with Nanlite, at least you do get the adapter to make it into Bowens mount. So anything you already have that's a Bowens mount softbox, you can mount to this, you know, but keep in mind it's a 120, so you don't want to put like a 5-foot octa on this thing, you know, but it's a clean light. It mixes really well. What I will say, and I'll close out with this, what I will say is a lot of times with RGB lights, especially some more budget ones, the diodes don't mix at the light and they take a little bit of space to mix, and that can affect things when you put modifiers on there. What I like about this light is if you look at the chip, it has a really dense lens on it. You see that, guys? So it mixes right at the chip, which is what you really want. It keeps it really saturated, you know, and I appreciate that. If you've ever noticed on some like budget option lights, RGB is like RGB, and it's like there's a lot of distance, and then you have to hope they mix together to make the color you're looking for. So I appreciate that. And again, this is super light, and you can control it via an app, which is totally cool too. I'm into it. I like it. You know what? I'll put the link to this in the chat so you guys can do your own research on it. And again, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just think some things are cool and they're worth checking out for yourselves. Is that the FC120C? Oh, dude, what are you kidding me? It's $240 for this thing? This is dope. All right, I'll put this in the chat so you guys can check it out. All right. And again, Nanlite this is all Nanlite. They totally were like, oh, we want to support the space. And they hooked it up and got us all the constant lights for every stream you guys are looking at. So I don't know, Johnny, but take a look at it. Put on a wish list or something. And I'm pretty psyched on this thing, actually. It's so easy to carry. It's like, it's just if you need a constant light, it's dope. Good stuff, Seth. I love the Adorama live events. When I bought my first camera, I absolutely knew nothing about photography. I learned so much from watching you, Daniel, on YouTube. Oh, I appreciate it. And I'm glad that we are helping you guys do what you want to do, get the most out of whatever you're investing into. This can't exist without you. Do you guys get that? Like, I can't talk into a void and still get funding for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a bunch of questions. Did I miss anything, guys, before I get out of here? Oh man, I'm so over time. Is there anything? What mode am I in for TTL? So metering mode does affect TTL. Listen to me very carefully. Depending on the camera you use, the brand, they have different names for things. Canon calls it, I think, evaluative. Nikon calls it matrix metering, and that'll register your whole scene. If you think for some reason your TTL is a little off, try switching to spot metering, but don't always use spot metering as the go-to, as the starting point. Some cameras, I know Nikon has it, I'm pretty sure Canon has it. You can actually set it to evaluative metering or matrix metering, but prioritize the face exposure because it's already doing subject detection. Fujifilm, when you put it into face detection, does not let you change your metering modes because it's prioritizing the face, right? So start off in your overall metering. If it's not working out because so much of the, so for example, if I'm wearing all black and the room is really dark and I put in all over metering and I do TTL, sometimes I might overexpose the skin because it's trying to make an exposure for all the dark. If you put into spot metering and you are focusing on the spot of the human, it will prioritize that, okay? If you can take one lens and turn it into a mug, I guess that depends on how big I want that mug to be, right? I mean, I like big mugs. I guess maybe I'd go with that Nikon Noct because it's so big and I can make it like a giant mug, you know, something like that maybe. Oh, come on, Kristen, you're gonna come in with me now? Can you explain back button focus? What's the difference from focus from shutter button halfway? I use both, I don't see a difference. So that is a preference thing. I am not a back button focus guy and I drive every old guy crazy that takes my camera. Back button focus means that you're using the autofocus button with your thumb and that'll focus and you're free to shoot. What I do instead is I use the half press shutter to focus and then I use my AF on button as a lock. So I'm focusing where I want and I lock, and then if I got to recompose, I can. I find that gives me more versatility. Some people feel that the half pressing of the shutter puts it too close to taking the shot for them, or they want to just prioritize the shutter button to only release the shutter, which I totally understand. I have 25 years of the habit that I'm talking about right now, and that's what works for me. You've got to kind of feel what's your habits and what works for you. You know, some little idiosyncrasies can drive some people crazy and some people find them to be the most helpful and useful thing ever, you know? Okay. No, thank you, Heidi. I appreciate you. Okay. 200 to 800, that's a big lens. All right. Happy holidays, Ron. Be good, man. All right, listen, guys, I'm not going to be here next week. I am going to London with Joe McNally. So if you want to stay up on what I'm doing with that, you can check out all my social here. Check out my personal channel. I just put out a video today. You can go ahead, follow on that. I will be here personally. I am doing a formal demo on the 16th. Come hang out. I want them to regret booking me. I want this place maxed out. I want too many people in here, okay? And if not, if you're from another state or whatever, country or whatever, jump in the chat right here. I'll be here 5 p.m. Eastern, December 16th. There is demos on the 9th. You've got Daniel Norton on that, I think the 10th. You got Daniel Norton later on this month. So you have Daniel at least twice this month. You got Eric Hercules on the 9th. You've got me on the 16th. You've got the Z100 thing happening all day on December 4th. If you're looking for Jingle Ball tickets, they're giving them away. And Adorama is raffling off random, really great prizes, which they always have. I think GoPro's a part of it. So make sure you check that out. In fact, I'll pull this up just to be safe. This is the December 4th Blitz, 10 to 7, all day. Just stop by. If you're in New York, swing by. You might win something. Who knows? And don't forget that Fujifilm will be here on Wednesday with the Eterna. You can actually try it out. So if you've been interested in the cinema world of Fujifilm, this is their first camera. This is your chance to try it out with a rep here to answer all your questions. Eric Hercules on the 9th. Coffee with Creators is still going strong, guys. We're like 75 episodes deep on that. Daniel Norton, myself, more Coffee with Creators. DJI Demo Day on the 17th. And so much more. Man, we are not going quietly into the night on this on this month. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Hope to see you guys in this chat when I get back. But for now, be good to each other, okay? I will be back in a week, just not on this stream. All right, guys. If you're watching this on playback, I want you to drop a comment with the exact way you take your coffee, okay? I am a black cold brew kind of guy because I'm Greek and we live on burnt dark stuff and cold iced coffee. So let me know how you take your coffee down in those comments. Don't forget to like, and don't forget there's 32 other streams of this. So put on that playlist while you're editing. All right, guys, this stream needs a little bit of help with the numbers. I'd appreciate it. Share it around. Got some people in here. Don't forget there are videos always popping up that are compilations. There's one with Drew Gurian and Chris Knight that just got put out on the channel. You got the Ab Cisse Masterclass, 3 hours of Ab Cisse. You gotta be kidding me. No, I'm just going to London with Joe, Ron. That's all. We're gonna go teach a 2-day workshop and come back. Or at least I'm coming back. He's there for a minute. And then I got the trade shows. I'm gonna be at Imaging USA, WPPI, and so will Adorama. Make sure you're checking out both of those trade shows. Those will be coming up faster than you think, guys. The one in Nashville for imaging is going to be dope. Don't miss out on it. And I think this might be my last year for stages for a little bit. I'm going to take a break from that. All right, cool. Be good to each other. Drop comments on all the videos. Hit subscribe. Bring a friend to the channel. And I will see you at some point, somewhere. Maybe on my channel. I don't know. Be good to each other, guys. Bye. That was the least smooth exit I've ever done. All right. Bye, guys.